David Mearns, oceanographer, but more importantly right now, friend of two of those on board. I really appreciate you being here. I know this is incredibly raw. You've been watching and receiving the news just as we have. Just want your opportunity for your thoughts right now.
Well, it's the worst possible outcome. All five men not being able to come home. Frankly, it's what I feared when I got the first call on Monday about what had happened. Initially, that Hamish was in the sub and that how it was lost communications, first dive, Titanic. That was not good. All of us in the deep sea, subsea community understand the risks, and when you get news like that, it hits you in the pit of your stomach. And particularly when it's a friend. And then later in the day, that PH was on board, PH Nargeolet was on board with Hamish. Then it's a double blow. I don't know Stockton Rush. He's part of my community. And then to hear that a father and a son were doing this dive on Father's Day is also gut-wrenching, isn't it? And what we're learning today, in terms of what they're seeing on the seabed, confirmed what a lot of us feared right from the beginning. And the only solace in any of it is that they didn't suffer for 4 days. But still, the outcome is the same. 5 men are not coming home, 5 families are devastated. And we're left questioning, why did that happen?
And that will be something now for the investigation.
Yes, yeah, and your reporter Dan was spot on. The broader issue now is, should these sorts of dives, taking essentially tourists down. I think of Hamish in a different way. He was an explorer and adventurer. But taking tourists down to such a remote, deep, and potentially dangerous location where if something goes wrong, the chances of somebody coming to your rescue are very, very, very small. What we saw over the past 4 days in terms of the Coast Guard response, the Navy response, the offshore community, the research vessels was extraordinary. I never thought it would happen, that so many assets could get there so quickly, but it's all in vain. We're going to learn something from that response as well. But obviously an investigation has to happen. And just to highlight how unprecedented this is, generally if there's an accident, you immediately know if a plane crashes, it's the Air Accident Investigation Branch here in the UK, or it's the FAA in America, or it's the Marine Accident Investigation Branch. Well, there is no precedent for it. So the Coast Guard admiral was saying basically the governments have to talk to how we proceed and who takes responsibility for what should be a forensic investigation to see what went wrong.
And like you said, it just highlights the unprecedented nature of this sequence of events. I just want to spend a quick moment just on your friends, if I may, for people who didn't know Hamish. What kind of man was he?
Hamish was a terrific character. He's a lovely guy, very charming, gregarious. He's now being sort of billed as this British billionaire. I never knew he was a billionaire. He didn't wear that type of presence around him. And, when I first met him, we got put together at a dinner with a whole group of people. And by the end of that dinner, he and I were planning an expedition together with our families to climb Kilimanjaro. So that's the type of guy he was, that he saw that I had the same interest with my children, who were not much older than his, to do something, quite extraordinary. And he immediately invited me along to what was already a very well-prepared expedition. Didn't happen, but that's by the by. And so he understood the risks. He's done some remarkable things in his life. He used his position and in ways that I hopefully people will focus on now and not think of him as somebody who's just doing diving down to a wreck for just for a thrill. It means something to him. He lives his life this way. He enjoys his life this way. He pushes the boundaries, and that's part of life. That's and we're richer for people like Hamish, and for I don't know the other people, but PH I've no longer professionally.
PH, just so we know, Paul-Henri Nargeolet, known as PH.
I mean, he's almost a legend, really, in terms of what he's done in his career, the contributions that he's made to this industry, to the subsea field, his deep, deep knowledge of the Titanic. Probably there's very few people that there's one or two people that may have dived, or they're about the same number of dives on it, and he was there for a different reason. One, that was his living, and he understood these risks. He lived these risks every day, and if I wasn't in this chair talking about PH and it was me there, he's the guy I'd want responsible for running a search and recovery, because you could find not many people actually who had his skills and experience to do something like that. And we all had no doubt, everybody who knew PH, that if there was any chance that these men could escape alive from this incredibly, ridiculously difficult predicament, it would have been the calm, composure, and training of PH.
And just give us tonight, you've spoken so eloquently about both of your friends there. I can't therefore begin to imagine what the last few days have been like for you and friends and family.
Yeah, it's been very difficult, we have a very small knit community, the people who go deep into the ocean on these crafts or with robotic vehicles in the ultra deep part of the world. We're talking 4,000 meters or thereabouts and deeper, and there's something in all of us that drives us to explore and to study, and that is embodied by both of these gentlemen, and to have lost two fantastic characters is a huge setback to my industry that people are going to have to think about and reflect on, personally, I've lost two friends in the most horrific way, but I want, speaking to the media, at least I want to have a human face on what these men stood for and what they lived their lives doing. And it's more than just this dive on Titanic. And hopefully that is something that will come out.
As I said before, you've spoken so eloquently, and we really appreciate it. This is beyond the imagination almost, because you, as I said, were absorbing this news just as we were, and then having to talk about your friends. We really appreciate it. We really, really do. Thank you so much for coming on.